What's up? I'm Big Bob. What's up, Big Bob? We got a special guest today, but before I introduce my special guest, a shout out to Brenda Ringwood, who is the executive producer and the founder of Becoming a Better You Foundation, which we'll talk about a little later. Okay. Jasper. Everybody in the city, Kansas City, knows him as Jasper, but you're more than just Jasper, aren't you?
I'm JJ to you. That's how you know me since I was little. Come on.
You know what? You know who introduced us?
Who's that?
Dan Pravecchio.
Oh my gosh, Danny, come on.
Yeah. Danny Pravecchio.
You go back, you remember this.
40 years ago, right? I'm having you. Now, you weren't there. I think you were like a afterthought, but your dad, Dan, and I were having lunch together on Cornell.
On 75th Street.
Yeah. And you were probably running back and forth, setting the table.
Yeah, I was working back then.
Right.
Danny was the advertising PR for our restaurant. And what a great job. He started off as our maitre d', a young maitre d' at Jasper's.
You know, his claim to fame, Playboy Club.
I was going to say, you knew that, didn't you? Yeah, come on.
Right. This is not about Danny, but he invited me over to his house for Thanksgiving one day, right? I'd just been married, went over there. We got there at 2:00 in the afternoon. You know what time he put his turkey in?
Oh no.
3:00.
Danny wasn't a cook. Danny was great with the PR. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, he really
Good
was.
memories with him on 75th Street.
Yeah.
I have a lot of memories from the 75th Street.
I do too. You used to have 5 stars.
5 stars, Mobile Travel Award.
Well, that's a great segue. How do you get a 5-star? Because you're the only 5-star restaurant in the city's ever had. And how do you lose it?
How do you get it? Number one, losing it's easy. You sell the restaurant and you go to a new location.
Right.
Getting it was so tough. My father, and that was his goal in life. He did it just like a Dorona Award, Distinguished Restaurants in North America, just like a Travel Holiday Award. You have a list, and it's kind of a unwritten list, but there's a written list, let's just say, where everything from the reception, the phone calls back then, and the reception to the plating to the kitchen. It's very, very hard. It's just like the Michelin today.
Right.
I wouldn't go after that award if you gave me $1 million. I'm being very honest with you today. What my father went through. And of course, when we sold the restaurant, so that was a good thing. But I mean, can I say this? A lot of people don't even know this.
There's only about 40 people listening, so it's between us.
A lot of people don't even know this. We used to put ice in the urinal, the men's urinal, for backsplash. That was not like one of the recommendations, but boy, if you had that in the bathroom,
We were classy.
You had toothpaste, you had rinse like a scope,
Right.
You had other things there, for your hair and the brushes, mints, all this stuff, the after dinner, the whole thing was a theme. You only sold the table once a night.
No shit.
And that's it. I mean,
how do you make money with no turnover?
Well, that's just it. And that's why I think fine dining kind of went away. It was an orchestra from the maitre d' greeting you. Now, we did sell more tables then. There's other ways around that. But that's where people you took one reservation. And if they wanted to stay 5 hours, then they stayed 5 hours. The jackets. First time I would have a jacket on in a long time. I had a funeral to go to early, but I had to have a little respect coming out here with you.
It's funny. Growing up, people, you went to church yesterday, I'm sure.
There you go.
How many people were shirt and tie?
We just had this conversation. There's a family priest who stays with our house, and he stays with us every time he comes in, Father Michael Markleski. And my nephews and my cousins came over in sport coats, and he was so excited. He looked at them. He even said, "This is it. What happens to this?" There's a priest, 87 years old, saying that same thing. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
When I was a young man, the first time I saw somebody going through the airport with a very expensive sweatsuit on, I'm going, what low class this person is.
Getting on TWA was like, come on, that was something
like going to church.
Now people take their shoes off on the plane.
It's crazy.
Their hair, they're dirty. I'm sorry. I guess I'm 63 years old, but I'm kind of old school still.
Well,
We both
63
are.
is pretty young. 63 is pretty young.
I like that.
So you've been in this new location,
You ready for this?
Yeah.
The new location now?
25 years.
27 years.
Congratulations.
So, I think about the old location every day. Every day I walk in the restaurant, I go to the front desk, I see my father's picture there. Now I also see my mama's picture now that she's passed. But I still think of every day, and I look at the employees. I see things going on.
There's a lot of old people that are working for you.
Oh, come on. We had, Julie at the front desk. You have the bartenders, the waiters, but the kitchen staff. The 4 guys in the kitchen, that's like the line, Notre Dame,
Right.
Those old guys we're still going. Those guys are with us, but they're training the young kids just like we are. Larry and I training my son, my nephew, and my great nephews to run the restaurant, and they do a great job.
Do they really?
They still know the chilled fork. Don't ever take that away. Offering the cracked pepper, the silver trays. I don't care if it's not, we're not $18 to $25 cocktails, but still my dad always had silver trays. Doing the different things that we do at the restaurant, the traditions that we have to keep.
Is fine dining dying in Kansas City,
I
or
will
is it
tell you.
coming back?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I remember when EBT opened up down on 103rd off 105th.
They didn't make it.
And then, well, they were there for many years, but then after about 15 years, Crosby Kemper put up a sign underneath EBT that said fine dining. That's after we closed Jasper's. My dad saw it. My dad saw the future. I disagreed with him. I'll be the first one to tell you in 1987 when Walgreen came upon us,
Right.
And they negotiated for about a year. My dad didn't play games. And I didn't want to sell the restaurant because why leave? Everything was going good. Business was good. We owned the property. No rent. So, hey, we did a business. If we had 100 people one night, 75, 150 the weekends, we were doing fine. And it supported 3 families. But my dad kept telling me, you don't know what's out there. We're stuck here at this restaurant. We only have one way of doing things. He was the first to say to take the jackets off, take the tie off, because he saw this trend in New York, LA. My father was a great traveler. He loved to travel. And he did a lot of reading, and he saw it was coming. He saw his friends close their restaurants.
Where was your father born?
My father was born in 1930, actually in America. A lot of people think my dad's from Italy.
Right.
My grandpa was from Italy. My dad was born in Kansas City, then moved to New York and stayed in New York until he was 14. Came back to Kansas City, went to De La Salle military school. That's why still today, you walk in the restaurant, I'm looking at the guy's shoes. I'm looking to make sure my employees, that their shoes are shined, their uniform is tucked in, their shirt, no hats in the dining room. You go on Yelp, go on Google, look at the comments about us. No hat policy. Are they kidding? This restaurant's so old. Say what you want.
Right.
You go into a church, you go in someone's home, you take off the hat. That's common respect.
It's respect. And it's funny. There's a portion of our society who's screaming, we need to respect better.
You're right.
And they're actually respecting less.
There you go.
Right?
You and I think alike.
Well, we're not going to talk about politics,
No,
sex, or religion.
no.
Well, maybe a little sex.
That's my father said that all the time about the restaurant.
Right.
There's a beautiful sign a beautiful kind of a picture at the restaurant, and it's the life of a restaurateur. You must be a Democrat, you must be a Republican, you must love football, baseball, basketball, etc. This and that. You have to be with everybody who comes in your restaurant.
You got to identify with
You have to do it, because if not,
they don't
buddy,
come
you're
back.
going to be in trouble. That's
Right.
right, exactly.
How much of your customers are repeat?
Oh, I would say 75%. Try to get a table on a Friday or Saturday night. Try to get booth 14, 15, table 6, 7, 8, 9, or table 17, 16, 17, and 18. Can't be had.
I mean, people, when they make reservations, they reserve.
These are their tables. Mrs. Gakem, my grade school teacher. I loved her. Her and her husband. Table 14 every Friday night, unless he calls and says, hey, give the table away, we're out of town.
Really?
This goes on table 7. I know the tables, we know the faces. Table 6 twice a month for the call.
I can understand asking for a server, right?
And they do that too.
Right. But for a table?
It's their table. There's a restaurant called Rayo's in New York. You've heard of sauces.
Right.
But Rayo's was the same way. 10 tables, buddy, that's it. And those tables are sold. I wish I can go back. I'd love that. My father started with 12 tables, 75th Mornell.
How do you
That's a
make
chef's
money?
dream. You don't make money
with
unless
12
you
tables?
charge $300 a night a person.
Right.
You don't.
Has the menu changed much?
The menu, the food items on the list on the menu have not changed one bit. We've added, we've taken off. There's still, and kind of sometimes Leonard in the kitchen don't like to hear this, my brother Leonard, but there's still the secret items. Like Starbucks has their secret menu.
Right.
The pasta carbonara, the eggplant parmesan, the pasta puttanesca, the linguine, way it's called veal. You got to have it sometime. It's the veal from the old school way, the veal piccata with melted cheese on top of this pasta. So there's some dishes that we know. I'm in the kitchen, I'm on the line, and I'll hear, veal piccata old school. Oh, who's here? I want to go see him out there in the dining room. But I'm not allowed to touch the menu. My mom and dad would come back to haunt me if I change that menu.
Some of my favorite restaurants allow me to order off the menu.
Sure we do. We have to.
Right.
You have to. I mean, here, I want veal piccata, add mushrooms to it. I want the chicken lemonade, do it this way. That's okay. Or do you have this tonight? Can you make me this, this style dish? I have one customer who does that every Friday night, no matter what. I do something different.
Do you cook at home?
I do a little bit. I don't do as much as people probably think. I'm not home a lot. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad. Yeah, that's how I get along with my wife so well. 39 years. Come on.
All right, there you go. You got kids?
I got one daughter. She's 32 years old, and two grandbabies who are the highlight of my life.
Congratulations.
So I get to see them on Sundays, of course. That's another thing. Chick-fil-A, they're not the only ones.
Right.
Hobby Lobby, Jasper's too. We're closed on Sundays. My dad, after one Thanksgiving one year in business, he came home and told my mom, "I'll never do it again. No holidays." So
holidays are for family.
Exactly.
We're a family-owned business.
Exactly. You understand that?
We close on holidays.
I have friends who are in the car dealerships and they opened up on Sundays. Why? They'll come by the car no matter what. Don't make your employees do that. And don't tell me one certain employee, oh, he wants to work on Sunday. No, I'm not giving that one.
Have you eaten everything on your menu?
Oh, yeah. Come on. What do you think? Some things I like. Some things I don't eat a lot of. I wish I could eat pasta every day of my life.
Really?
My dad used to have a marinara diet, he used to call it. My dad kept his weight down, and he would eat pasta up until, not like all day long, but he would have a dish of linguine marinara for 2 months every day, and he lost 10 pounds on the diet.
That's all he ate.
That's all he ate, though. He was disciplined.
There was a diet, I forget what the name of it is, but put any food, ice cream, steak, any food, one food, and that's all you eat, you lose weight.
And you will, exactly. And my problem, is eating late at night. I get off work, you finally relax. Heck, I'll go to McDonald's, or I want a dish, of macaroni and cheese,
Right.
or whatever my wife used to cook. She'd have a little leftovers.
Where do you like to go for dinner?
Here in Kansas City, I have some good friends in the restaurant business. I mean, and I'm very, very fortunate. We love barbecue, so we love Jack Stack. Going home every night, smelling Gates on the way home. They open that stack up at about 10:30, and I smell it.
Right.
That tempts you a little bit.
Wait. Where is Jasper's?
103rd and State Line, Watts Mill.
103rd and State. Geez, that's a great demographic you're pulling from.
Well, you're there. You just hit it.
Right.
I didn't see that, and my father did when that shopping center became available. We have a Kansas clientele and Missouri clientele,
Right.
believe me, with a Kansas City address, taxes wise, and it's a little bit better.
Do you own the strip center?
That's what we did. We did a trade with the 75th and Mornell. It was very good. We have some great tenants. Goodyear is an anchor. We have a new dispensary there. It's just going crazy, busy,
right.
constantly.
Right.
Some really, really good Ugly Joe's, and of course a tavern is there. UPS and other shops.
Jerry's one of my favorite breakfast
places.
places.
Come on, my man Jerry. That was the old Jerry too.
Yeah, right.
And now the kid who's running it is carrying on the tradition.
Right.
Food is almost the same hash brown Jack. Come on.
Absolutely. Good food. Is your business seasonal?
So we have 5 seasons.
5 seasons.
There's 5 seasons. There's winter, spring, summer, fall, and mozzarella season. You didn't even ask me this beforehand. You know nothing about that.
Tell me about mozzarella.
Mozzarella season. It starts April 15th.
Wait. It's going on now.
April 15th is the only good thing about tax day.
Right.
And we start making mozzarella only because that's when we get these delicious tomatoes. That's the first time that when they come in, hopefully we get them every year. We've been very, very lucky. They're called Campari. They are sweet as sugar. Do I put them up against the heirloom tomatoes, the local tomatoes? No, but they're a great start. People come at Christmas time. Jay, why don't you have the mozzarella? We only came. What do you mean you only came here for the mozzarella? Come here in April until September, and we make fresh mozzarella every day. We have to for our dishes.
Right.
But doing the tableside mozzarella, That was a shot in the arm for and back then for a 65-year-old restaurant when we started it. Now, I'm sorry, wait, 55-year-old restaurant back then. Now we're 71 years old.
71.
71. 16 years ago we
mom
started it.
before you were born.
Yeah, come on, 1954. They started a year Leonard was born.
Wow.
Yep.
How's Marco Polo? What's
Marco
that?
Polo. So the reason Marco Polo's was opened up in 1984, I finished up in college and I came home, and my dad and I wanted to open up in Leonard, wanted to open up an Italian deli and grocery next to the restaurant. We had an open room.
Right.
My dad owned the property on 75th Street.
Right.
Yeah. So the first year we could not do anything. I mean, nothing. I came home the first day from work and I told my dad, I said, Dad, we had people there wanting a sandwich. He said, it's a grocery and deli. So we even put a sandwich menu in. And little by little, it would do some business a day. I remember calling my wife one Saturday night. I said, we just broke $1,000. She said, wow, are you serious? I mean, like, wow, we're going to be, we're going to get busy here someday. It never hit until 1 year later, my dad walks into the restaurant, into the deli. I'm behind the line. I was working a deli counter myself with one cashier. He goes, what are you doing? You're talented. You're a chef. You have everything going for you. You're killing yourself behind this deli counter. I said, Dad, I'm going to get it going. He said, close it up. You don't need this. Come back to the restaurant, back to the kitchen, run the kitchen over there. The next morning, I woke up, couldn't sleep all night, went over across the street, if you remember Costco.
Yeah.
Was it called Costco or Osco?
Yeah.
And they had a grill there, and I knew they had that grill there. I went and bought the grill. I went to Milgram's down next door, got a bag of charcoal, bag of lighter fluid. Tony Baguia always made our sausage.
Right.
So I went and got a box of sausage at Jasper's, and one of the cooks made me a pan of peppers, onions, and potatoes. I got some hot dog buns, 11 o'clock. I put that grill out there, and cars were going. They didn't know what to do. The police didn't know what to do. I never created such a crowd, still to this day. My dad comes around that corner, 11:29. My dad's car would pull in that parking lot, no matter what.
Right.
Didn't matter. He saw what was going on. Like, well, after 2 weeks, my dad was out there with that grill. He took over that grill. But that put Marco Polo's on the map.
Right.
And then we opened up the trattoria.
You still do it.
Yeah, that's a big thing now.
Right.
What Shorty is still with us.
No.
Shorty is still with us. Shorty he works that station and he works the salad. He's 67 years old, the longest tenured employee at the restaurant right now. How about that?
How different is the menu at Marco Polo?
Marco Polo's is different. Now, same kitchen. People don't believe it. You walk into Marco Polo's, you can see the kitchen back there. It's Jasper's kitchen. They don't understand. They'll say, well, we want Jasper's tomato sauce. We want Jasper's chicken parm. It's the same kitchen, and prices, some of them are less than half of what they are at Jasper's.
Can I tell one of my little secrets? When I go to Jasper's, I say, I want Marco Polo bread.
Marco Polo bread, exactly.
Because the bread
Marco Polo, but don't get me started on the bread right now.
I won't.
I'm going to talk about it. Heck,
let's talk about bread.
The seeds, there's no seeds on the bread except our Roma Bakery bread.
Right.
They don't go by that law. You can't have sesame seeds on bread if you're baking. It doesn't make sense.
You know what I heard recently?
I'm just crazy with this.
Why restaurants serve bread. This is what I heard. That there's a certain sugar in bread that once released needs to be satisfied with more sugar so that you give away the free bread. So at the end of the meal, they have a need for sugar. They want to order desserts.
You're close. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
And this is very, very true. It's in every one of our meetings every night. The servers know it. You go to a table. Good evening. Welcome to Jasper's. May I start you off with a cocktail? First of all, that's your greeting. You get them going. Right. First of all, secondly, you want to satisfy that person. The definition of a restaurant is the Latin term to restore. Okay.
I'm learning something.
That's your job. Our job. When you come in, we have to restore you. It could be a hot day. Your wife doesn't want to cook. You don't want to spend the money going out. There's got to be some medium there. It's 120 degrees outside in Kansas City. We get you a drink right away. It's a pacifier. Right. The bread is a pacifier. Now you eat something, you drink something. Wow, you kind of relax. Forget about the stock market, forget about the day, the family and everything. Right. And now it's our job to start restoring you. Get your dinner. And then once that dessert cart comes by the table, every table at Jasper sees that dessert cart no matter what.
Even if they don't want dessert.
Exactly. And the waiters know they have to see, even when they say, I'll take the check, you bring the check, I have to show you the cart just to see it's not.
Besides, it's rolled by them 3-4 times already.
I feel sorry for the families. That's a little kid here, and right over there, there's that cart, and the kid sits there, and we still sell. And you're not gonna believe this: 75% desserts at our restaurant. There's not
Yeah, but
another
they're so
restaurant can say that.
huge.
Oh yeah.
Some of those
I won't
dessert-
change anything. The portion, people say that. I remember going to Chicago one time. We left a restaurant called Rosebud. My dad loved it. And we walked out with a package. He said, what are you going to do with that package? Yeah.
Okay.
What are you going to do with that package? We're going back to the hotel. But then it clicked on. He said, you know what? When we open up the new restaurant, I want everybody to take home something. And you're going to think, wow, look at this portion. Take it home. I don't do half portions. I don't mess with that.
Right.
So if you don't feel like eating all the way, take it home.
Right.
It's great leftovers.
Right.
Come on.
How can you mess up good food?
Exactly. Well,
Well, how do you heat up your leftovers?
so a lot of people do microwaves. I use a frying pan.
Oh.
Fried pasta is
Hold
the
on for a
best way.
second. Educate.
Come on, a frying pan, just like our nanas and papas and parents did. You know,
Right.
forget about the microwave. Put the spaghetti in the frying pan, add a little bit of water to it, kind of reconstitute it. You have fried pasta. That's what we call it.
Right.
It's better than it was at Jasper's. Believe me, it was.
So never put the
I
pasta.
don't like microwaves. My one nephew, and microwaves aren't even allowed at his house.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. You travel a lot.
I do.
Do you
I love
travel
to.
for recreation or for work?
Sometimes recreation. If I'm in Florida, you know it's recreation.
Right.
We love Florida, but for work, I take a group every other year to Italy. We absolutely love it. 18 to 20 people. The event goes out only on Facebook, and by midnight that night, it usually is filled up.
You know, I've been invited to a couple of these special events that you have there.
Oh yeah, you've been to my supper clubs.
Yeah. So talk about the supper clubs.
Supper clubs are a little bit different than a dining experience at Jasper. Same atmosphere, same table, this and that, but they're all themed. Like an evening in Chicago is coming up, where we're doing an old Chicago dinner, you know, or the Caesar salad project, where we make the tableside Caesar like my dad used to do.
With or without?
Oh,
anchovies?
come on, you have to.
I mean, I once was a server and I had to do tableside,
Yeah, come on.
right? And avocado around the board, right?
People say, "Oh, I don't like anchovies." I said, "You ever eat Worcestershire?" Oh yeah, of course. Second ingredient in Worcestershire sauce is anchovies. Come on, you don't know if they're pureed enough.
Right.
Just like, okay, anchovies. My mama, my nana, the pizza. They stick little anchovies into the dough, then cover it with the sauce, cover it with the cheese, and bake it and cut it in squares. No one ever knew until the
Anchovies.
Truth and Accuracy menus came out, where you have to, you can't.
Right.
Some people have allergies. You have to
Right.
respect that.
Nobody has allergies to anchovies.
But exactly. Come on. So up until 1997, there were anchovies in our pizza sauce,
Wow.
and no one ever knew it.
Wow.
Instead of salt, that's the old Sicilian way.
But I didn't mean to get away from travel. I want to go back to
Oh yeah,
travel.
I love to travel. I was in Japan recently. My son-in-law was stationary as a Navy pilot.
How's the Italian food in
So
Japan?
let me tell you something. They have Michelin restaurants over there. They'll rate. I mean, and I learned so much. I learned about the Japanese culture, their way of eating, the cleanliness, but their way of eating, and they don't go crazy and eat 4 different. They do eat many courses, but they don't eat 4 or 5 times a day. But they like their McDonald's too. Best
Really?
McDonald's I've ever been to.
Different than our McDonald's.
Well, I learned that you don't touch the hands of the people handing you the money. They put it on a little tray, or you don't eat a French fry while you're standing on the counter waiting for them to get your cheeseburger. That's kind of you stand there like at attention.
A lot more respect.
A lot more respect.
Going
Exactly.
back to
Exactly.
respect.
I love to go to New York. I love to go. This summer, I'm going to LA with Greg Gorman. Remember Greg Gorman, the photographer?
no, Greg Orman. I remember the politician.
No, Joe Gorman. He was in Kansas City.
Gorman. No.
Gorman, the
Yeah, of
furniture
course.
store,
Yeah.
75th. Long story short, his son is a photographer, famous photographer to the stars. You name it, he's done. Madonna, Michael Jackson. Greg has an
He
awards
hasn't done
dinner.
me.
Well, yeah, come on, you got to come. Gotta get in touch with him.
Right.
And I'm going to his house and I'm cooking for a bunch of actors and actresses, including Patty Hearst. Will be there.
She's still alive.
Patty Hearst is still alive, including Heidi Fleiss.
She's still
So
alive.
we have, she's still alive, and some actors.
These aren't famous. These are almost infamous.
Yeah, come on. So I have all them coming there for dinner
Right.
that night. I'm already planning for my big dinner. And I get to travel. To see friends in the restaurant business. I'll be going to Chicago very soon to restaurant convention. And
So if you're not eating Italian, what do you eat?
I love Chinese. Oh my God, come on.
Really?
I got my certain Chinese restaurants that I grew up in, and also ones that Lisa and I, how we met, the old Dragon Inn.
I remember that.
Yeah, come on.
Down
That was
in,
our
Overland
second
Park.
date.
Right.
And but still, Boleyn's. Richard and I are dear friends.
Right.
He just, was purchased by the new restaurant group. It's called Heritage by Boleyn's. It's even better, the decor and everything. Of course, Princess Garden. Sundays at Princess Garden. Going to see Sam and his sisters doing the duck and all. We're old school.
Right. Right. Were you born in the wrong century?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Leonard especially. My brother Leonard. Leonard's the oldest. I'm the youngest. In between, we have James
He's a
and
hard
Sam.
ass, though.
Yeah, Leonard's tough. You don't play
He's
games.
tough.
Leonard, but let me tell you something. Leonard can be also soft. When you see him with his grandkids and the babies, Leonard could be soft. I'm the one out there in the front, and Leonard likes it like that.
Right.
The restaurant doesn't run without Leonard and my nephew Jay.
Right.
They're the business ones. They're the ones in the back,
Right.
making sure with that sharpening
bills
that
get
pencil,
Right.
bills get paid. I'm
Right.
out front with the radio show and
You're the
everything.
PR guy.
Exactly.
You're
And I
Colonel
love it. And I
Sanders.
love it. And like exactly. There you go. Oh, that's a good one. I haven't been told that before.
Right. You're Colonel Sanders.
I love that.
Right. Do you work the floor every night?
Every night. I get to the restaurant. My daily schedule is I get to the restaurant. I get to get there a little late now. I don't have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning when they turn the stoves on.
Right.
So I get to come a little bit later now as I get older. But the kids in the kitchen, the guys in the kitchen, the cooks, my nephews, they have everything going. And then I work the lunch hour. My job, mainly, I check all the sauces. I have the sauces are made to my Nana's exact recipes. I was very proud. I came back. I had kidney stones a couple weeks ago. I came back in the
geez.
kitchen. Don't even get me started.
Oh,
please.
geez.
And they couldn't get it.
Did they have to
So,
go
yeah.
for the operation?
Yeah, I did the
I
operation.
had that
Oh,
about
my
18 months
God.
ago.
I mean, I'm the biggest baby. But I came back in the kitchen and I see the cookbooks down on the counter. And there was a cook who's been there for about 2 years. And he's going over the recipe. I walked up, got my spoon. I said, "Are you kidding me?" He stood there like this. He was like, I said, "It's perfect. It's better than mine." Because I have my hands. So I know how to measure. Leonard hollers at me all the time about that. Here, I know how much it gets, and I know how to taste.
You put sugar in it?
Well, in some of my sauces, I put sugar in. You have to.
Okay.
But in this certain sauce he made, a salmon for a salmon dish that we do, the mustard tarragon sauce, which I was just talking to a customer about that a little earlier. Oh my God, I can imagine what kind of mustard you must have in this. I said, no, use
French's?
French's yellow mustard. That's the way they do it in France, not with French's, but not with
Right.
this, y'all. It's going to change the whole flavor of the dish. I like, you know what you're talking about when it comes to food, Bob.
Well, look at me. Of
Yeah,
course
look
I
at
know.
you. Come on.
I've lost 25 pounds the last 9 months.
Is that fantastic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Healthy, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Steakhouses.
Oh, I love steakhouses. I'm old.
I'm waiting for 1587.
How about it? Is that going to be exciting?
That could be exciting.
That group that has that is a big restaurant group.
Right.
So they're not going to play games.
Has anybody come to you and said, "Let me buy you out,
Oh,
become a member"?
We have so many stories. We go back to 1997 or 98, Larry and I, and we had a chance to go to Las Vegas. When all the restaurateurs around the country, my friends did it.
Right.
Valentino did it, and from LA, and other restaurants
Right.
from New York went there. And we've come very, very close to it. But here's our problem. It's called myth.
Quality control.
That's it. That's what myth is. Mirabile in the house. MITH. And there's always a Mirabile in that house. Now we got 4 of us here, 5 of us here.
Have you ever thought of franchising?
We had a chance back in the 80s with some of the franchise.
Right.
He was head of operations for Kentucky Fried here in the Midwest. And he wanted to go out and franchise.
How about a second store? You got enough for the second
We
store?
talked about that too. We got the boys who could do a second store, but you know what? We do it right. We're there. On weekends, we all need to be there. When you got 350 people on a Saturday night.
350
Saturday
people?
nights you don't play games.
Hold on a second.
That's 3 turns.
$20,000 a night?
It better be $20,000 a night. I look and see if my father, Leonard says every Saturday night, we finish up, Leonard's back in the office at his desk, and he'll go make a deposit, and he'll say, "Boy, if Dad can see this right now," he'll close that book, put it in the drawer, we turn the lights off. It's the same thing every week, he says.
We're 42 years old. And
Congratulations.
thank you very much.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. But I, like you, I got family, and they all carry more than their fair share. But in the beginning of the time, our average invoice was $187.
Wow.
Now our average invoice is around $2,500 to $3,000.
But take that with the restaurant business. My dad's check average Used to be when we closed Jasper's on 75th Street,
Right.
was around $65 in 1997.
Now it's 150, 200.
Our check just for one person.
Oh, one person.
Now it's $48.
Really?
$55 some nights,
But you're turning that much more.
and we haven't changed anything. Sure, we
But
don't
the
do all
cost-
the veal
well,
chops, the
well,
lamb chops.
The cost of materials
The
going
cost
through the roof.
is crazy, but we've kept down the cost. Our labor, we have some great people working for us. They all make money. Servers all make great money. The cost of food is what gets us. The insurance gets us. We can control cost. Pasta.
How long you been in this building?
I've been 27 years now.
Is it paid for?
Oh yeah, it's paid for. Paid for after.
So
10 years.
the rent goes to the owners
Exactly.
and not to the bank.
Exactly. So there's a
some
way,
benefits.
and if you sell a lot of pasta, you're in good shape. You better sell a lot of
Pizza?
pasta. Yeah, pasta and pizza. The old oven is there, 1954. Baker's Pride, still back there.
How many different pizzas do you sell?
Well, we sell the main 5 pizzas. The Paisano, of course, the oldest pizza, which is called Around the Boot with everything, including anchovies. I asked the kids here today, does anybody still get anchovies? No, they once in a while, out of the blue, someone will say put anchovies on it.
Right.
The Napolitan pizza. So those regulars go, the combo is still the biggest.
Is it more like a New York style? Or
It's a New York style. It's a New York style with a little thicker crust on the outside, but then it goes into a thin crust where you can pick it up, like Dave Portner, he's
fold it in half.
you can fold it in half.
Right,
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the way pizza was.
Yeah,
meant
that's
to
way
be.
exactly. My nana used to make the square pizzas.
So
That's different.
probably 75% of the time I go to Marco Polo, I get a meatball sandwich.
There you go, the gondola.
Oh, it is.
And it looks like a gondola now more than before.
It is.
We stuff it.
delicious.
And I tell the kids, we don't measure. You stuff it with as many meatballs. You make a little hole in that bud, and it sits up like a gondola. And you stuff as many meatballs in that as you can. Put it in that toaster, and not the toaster, in the pizza oven. And man, oh man, that's still my favorite sandwich.
Really?
That and the Italian steak sandwich.
Me too.
I like doing the Italian steak sandwich. Leonard and I do, but we don't do it for customers. We do it the old Wimpy's way.
How's that?
Wimpy's on Cheers. You remember Wimpy's with the barbecue sauce and a little bit
Yeah,
of shredded lettuce
yeah.
and onion and pickle?
Yeah.
Well, I don't mess with that. I got enough items at the restaurant. I'm not messing with that.
Do you guys do your own bakery?
So we do all of our baking from farm to market to our specifications, but that's for bread.
Co-packer.
But exactly, that's for bread. But for desserts, everything is made on premise at Jasper's. Dwayne has been making our desserts now for the past 5 years. Before then, we had 2 other cooks, and we had Miss Flo. She made all desserts, and Miss Fanny made desserts. So not a lot of people. Shorty still makes the cannoli mix every day.
Is this a special recipes?
Oh, sure.
Really?
Like the strawberry cake is layered with chantilly cream, and we soak it with strawberry Torani syrup. Used to be strawberry liqueur,
Right.
and now so the kids can eat it. Coconut cake the same way. Coconut cake,
Yeah, coconut
Easter
cake
weekend
is to die
was
for.
crazy.
Right.
It was actually, we didn't even have one in our own home. My sister-in-law made a ricotta cake because I couldn't get an order in the kitchen. It was too late, and I wasn't going to tell the cooks,
Right.
hey, I need a coconut cake for home. So all the desserts are still made, same the old and traditions. Like coming up now, we'll have the peaches in the summertime. So we'll have the strawberries coming up. My dad with the strawberry chantilly. We have in the wintertime the panettone, the Italian bread pudding.
Okay. So here's something a little offbeat. It came to me about a week ago. When my grandparents were alive,
Mhm.
all of their children and all of their grandchildren would go to the house for holidays. When my grandparents died, the family started splintering off,
Yeah, it happens.
right? My father and mother, their children, my uncles and aunts, we only saw them basically at weddings and funerals.
Wedding funerals, exactly.
Right? In Kansas City, I'm the oldest of 7. 2 live in New York, 1 lives in Boston, 4 live here in town. The siblings all get together
See.
for all holidays,
Is that great?
all their children, all their grandchildren. And I think it's really unusual that siblings are holding,
My daughter's like that. My nephews are like that.
right? So when you get together, are you together with siblings, cousins? Or
Siblings, cousins, nephews, great nephews, grandchildren. And yesterday was unbelievable at the house for Easter Sunday.
How many?
Well, there was 25, but the Jaspers, there's 5 Jaspers now. So when someone says Jasper, yeah, when they say someone says Jasper now, it's like the heads are spinning.
Really?
And
I
my
mean,
dad
I
would
heard of
put-
George Foreman naming
Yeah,
five of
exactly.
his
Yeah.
kids.
My dad would be
George.
so proud if he saw that.
Right.
There was a picture we put up, and my sister-in-law told me, she said, if Papa only saw that right now. I said, he's seen it. He sees it.
Well, they all want a piece of the action.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's one picture of Jay's son, and he's sitting there. He's still like, he's 13 now, but this is when he was 6. And he's like this with some financial papers in front of him and a pen. And when people look at that, I said, it's the heir apparent up there. It's hanging over the bar. You got to see it when you come in.
Okay. All right. Do you do a lot of private events?
A lot of catering, a lot of private events. The kids
Catering.
take care of that. Yeah, the kids take care of that. I say the kids and nephews. They are great with that. I was sick with kidney stones last weekend, and they sent me a photo of their catering. I swear we didn't do it. I said, this is not our table. Look at that. The desserts, the way everything was cut, the buffet, the presentation. I was like overwhelmed.
Different division.
Different division. That's the old. Did you see the Marco Polo van?
Yeah.
That's got stolen more times than I don't know. But that's the old Marco Polo. We'll never replace it. We just keep it going.
Right. Right.
But the kitchens are small, so it's tough to do the catering, the private events. A lot of pickup, a lot of catering, like people getting half pans of pasta. We have this one family. I won't give her name, and she brings us the casserole just like her mom used to, and we make the pasta in it for her.
You make the pasta
For
for
her.
based on her mother's recipe.
Exactly. So
No
yeah,
shit.
I'm not kidding you. I absolutely
Really?
love it. Yeah, come on. And now the daughter brings it in. I'm gonna send him the copy of this podcast.
Wow.
She'll love it.
What's her first name?
Marie.
Marie. This is just for you. Just for you.
I love it.
I can't believe you get him to make your mother's pasta in his restaurant with your mother's recipe.
Marie,
Crazy.
Your granddaughter said it's better than yours. Ouch.
All right. Who's your competition in town?
We don't have competition, and that's not your ego speaking. I'm just saying that. I'm friends with every restaurateur in town. Casconis are my best friends. I talked to Frank like I talked to my father.
Right.
I talked to Frank 4 times last week. I didn't call him on Easter, so I'll call him tonight.
Right.
But those are our friends, and you need. That's why I tell people like Lydia Bastianich. We wanted Lydia to come to Kansas City. Look, it puts us on the map.
Right.
There was a little town called Wamego, Kansas. They had a Taco Bell, or not Pizza Hut. And I remember people were so against, when I was up at school, they were so against them opening up another restaurant in that town. How do you survive off one restaurant? When Taco Bell came to 103rd and State Line, we loved it. You know why?
Yeah.
Come on, traffic.
Right.
People see that Taco Bell. They see McDonald's on the corner, and then there's Jasper's. I get a lot of heat for being a shopping center restaurant. I don't care. So it's in a shopping center. What's the difference? It's not an individual
a second,
building.
wait. Are you busy?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Are you making money?
Exactly. This is Leonard.
Is anybody getting food poisoning?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Give me
buddy.
a break here.
Exactly. And so there's not competition because you want to see other restaurants succeed.
Was the Plaza competition?
No, not anymore. I think the Plaza used to be a competition to us.
I'm not talking
anymore.
about a particular restaurant, but there
The
must
restaurant
be
district down
good
there, yeah.
restaurants out in Overland
Overland
Park.
Park, yeah, exactly. There's restaurants, and people now they'll go downtown, they'll come out south. It's not like it was 40 years ago. You're a neighborhood.
See, for me, going to Jasper's is a real treat.
Thank you.
It's a once a quarter type of deal. It's a couple times a year. It
Exactly,
can't be a
exactly.
weekly thing, otherwise it would have.
But we have people doing weekly, individual couples. What I love now, April 1st was the 71st anniversary. That night,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. We had a grandparent,
Wait, so you got to say that again.
71 years.
71 years.
Yep, the oldest Italian restaurant in Kansas City, the 6th oldest restaurant, because people they forget about Dixon's.
Right.
Somebody else, Savoy, I still consider that. The Savoy is still
Right.
the Savoy, it's still there, that restaurant, the name and all. But 71 years, and a great grandfather came in with the kids. He used to eat there when he was a child,
No.
and he's a great grandpa now. And he's bringing in his great grandchildren to the table. Big long table of 12. I walked over to the table. I said, "Oh my God, are you guys kidding? Thank you all." He said, "I wouldn't have it any other way, Jay. Are you
Right.
kidding me?"
Right.
This is they're being raised the same way. And when they come in, like they're at one table, it was very difficult for her to come back, this lady. And she told Leonard said, "Where have you been? We haven't seen you. Are you okay?" She said, "My husband died 4 years ago, Leonard, and I just couldn't come back to the restaurants. I had to wait, and tonight was very difficult. But when I saw you, I saw Jay, I saw the boys, I felt home again." Still had her same drink. We remembered her drink. Oh, I didn't tell you this. We used to have a book. Leonard
Right.
still has it hidden.
Right.
I'll show you sometime when you're in the restaurant. and it's back in the safe. And there was a book on the customers,
Really?
little black book, what they drank, what they ate, what table they sat in. If Mrs. John Doe was getting a little bit bigger, she moved from table 2 to table 3 because there's an extra 4 inches in the booth, and she didn't even know it, but she still felt comfortable. Little money signs by her name.
You have no idea how sophisticated that is in service.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Now they have
beyond-
computers on what's it called, open table, and they know what you want, this and that. We had the black book, Richard the Maitre d'. Oh, I'd love to write a book about Richard, the last maitre d' in Kansas City. Yeah, there's hostesses, there's maitre d's, and right now he was the last maitre d'. You walked in that restaurant, Al Davis would come in from the Oakland Raiders.
Right.
He'd walk in and he'd look at Richard. Richard look at him and said, Richard would say, Al, size 48, I think. He'd walk over to the closet and hand him a jacket. And Al would just put his head down. I remember when he who was the owner of San Diego Chargers, Baron Hilton.
Okay.
Comes in the restaurant with George Pernicano with the handlebar mustache, the minority owner, and Baron Hilton had always got a ketchup with his filet mignon, well done.
Oh, geez.
We had to serve him first. The rest of the party would leave. I mean, he'd leave before the rest of the party. But there's certain, we had that in the book. You just knew what they wanted, and we still do that. We know what people want, how they want their martinis. If they want them shaken, if they want the olives, if they want the anchovy stuffed olive or blue cheese stuff, or a certain dish they don't want this in there, or she gets no salt.
So when they make a reservation, does somebody review the
Oh yeah,
notes?
oh I do all the time. Jordan, my great nephew, knows it by heart now. We felt like Mr. Gaken was in there a night. We know exactly what he does. We know on a Saturday night he even called. We even know what's on his pizza. Now Minsky's does that now because when you call,
Right.
hey, how are you? Such and such. Okay, you want your regular order. Ours is in our mind or it's written on a little sheet.
Right.
We're not too good with computers. The boys are. I'm not.
I learned how to use a microwave last week.
There you go.
And it's about as techie as I am. What do you do for recreation?
You know what? I do a lot of different things. I love to swim. Summertime, you'll catch me in that pool.
I don't want a visual.
Yeah, if you'll catch
I don't
me,
want a
you'll
visual.
catch me
I
in
don't
that
want a
pool.
visual.
I'm in that pool. I mean, I wanted to move.
Laps?
Oh yeah, I do laps. I love it. If I'm down in Florida, the same way.
Okay.
That's why I like to go to Florida in the fall and
We're in
winter,
Florida.
down to South Palm. My dad bought a place down
Okay.
there. 30s. No, oh my God. Let me see. My daughter's 32, so 31 years ago, and that's kind of my hideaway. I just go
Right.
there and just relax, and I
New
forget
set of
about everything.
friends.
I do. We have a lot of friends down there. We go out to dinner with.
Right.
People always say, oh my God, we don't want to have you over to the house. We're embarrassed. We'll take you out to eat somewhere. Why? I eat hot dogs. Come on.
Well, what hot dogs?
Yeah.
do you like?
Oh, I got to have a Nathan's or I got to have a Best.
See, I'm Nathan's or Nathan's or Hebrew National.
Hebrew National. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They got to have the skin on them.
Right.
Come on. Soft bun, just a little bit of mustard on there,
Right. Right.
Chicago dogs are good, but I got to have
don't
my
like
old,
Chicago
I got to have
dogs.
my old New York.
Right. Okay.
Corned beef and pastrami. Where do you go in Kansas City?
You don't.
Isn't it a shame?
There's not too many good Italian delis. And
Seriously.
there's not too many good Jewish delis.
Manny Becker.
You go back east. And
Everywhere. We go to Florida, there's a place called Flakowitz's
Yeah.
down in Boca. Oh, I cannot wait to go
Yeah.
there. Now, we made our own pastrami last week, first time ever. My friend has a place out in Belton, and we went there. We made the pastrami, made the corned beef, let it cure for 30 days. That pastrami will kill you. I mean, I'll put it right up there.
What most people don't realize, it's the same thing as a brisket.
Yeah,
It's
come
the
on.
exact same piece of meat.
Exactly. It's not that difficult to make.
Right.
Because you ever watch these cats on TikTok or anything?
Yeah.
Watch these videos of these guys with the pastrami. And they're like,
Right.
and I'm not that quick, but I got the recipe down pretty good. I've had restaurants. I've had friends here who opened up restaurants and they try to do it. And
If you had to open up a non-Italian restaurant, what kind of restaurant would you open up?
I think maybe a good hamburger, really good. There's a lot of hamburger places, but seriously.
Milkshake hamburger?
Oh yeah, diner type. There's a little place I go to. My friend Jack has. It's one of the best, and just the old
Yeah.
press that
Right.
hamburger down,
Right.
like the old Winstead.
Right.
Just old
Sign
school.
me up. I'll go there.
Yeah, come on, just
Yeah.
old school. Soft bun.
I'm getting hungry.
My whole life is food. That's all I talk about. People tell me, "Hey, I'm going to Naples next week." Well, here I got a list. Let me send them to you. Rome and Florence. Where are you going? Oh, I'm going here. Let me send you my list. That's all I do.
So I was going to New Orleans,
Huh.
and a common acquaintance of ours said, "You got to go to this restaurant." I said, "Okay." I had the single best meal of my entire lifetime.
Galatoire's, prosciuttos.
It was off the beaten path.
Oh,
It was
boy.
way, way
Really?
away from
Really?
everything. It was not on Canal
Massas?
Street. It might have been. It was like 7 o'clock, and they had no people there.
Had been massas.
And the people there might have been dangerous, might not
It
have
had been
dangerous.
massas. I know exactly where you were at.
They served me the best meal I've ever had in my entire
They do an
lifetime.
angel here with shaved garlic. That'll knock you out.
I had what did I have?
Was it like a roadhouse kind of place?
Yeah, maybe.
Nothing big, nothing fancy.
No. Best meal I ever had.
Yeah, Moscas. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
See, that's what I do. I go. I know all the places in New Orleans. I have cousins down there. My grandmother was from Shreveport, so I know a little bit. Yeah, when they came in from Sicily, they came in through that way. They didn't come in like everybody else up in north.
Right.
You know, on the East Coast.
Right.
And so family immigrated to Kansas City.
I used to own a franchise. I used to be a franchisor, and whenever I traveled, I said, "I don't care where we go to eat. It just has to be a restaurant I can't find in Kansas City."
Exactly.
It,
You tell me how you go to New York City and they do big business, but there's New York, all these great restaurants, and you have the Olive Garden on right there in Times Square, and there's packed and there's a line out the door.
why?
There's a Pizza Hut there now also, and you got right around the corner, you have the
Why?
Fires, you got something
I
like
want to
that.
go. I want to go to someplace I've never been
Exactly,
before. I want to go to a
exactly.
hole. If I can find a hole in the wall,
Oh, there's nothing
that
better.
serves good
That's why
food.
you asked me what I would open up.
There's a place in Oklahoma City that opens for breakfast and lunch. They have a counter, and they have
There you go.
four tables, and I think the maximum capacity is 12 people.
That's my kind of place right there.
And the food was the best breakfast I've ever had.
That's what you want. I mean, you got this place that serve 250 people and big counters and this and that. Come on, that's not what I want.
Pancake was this big,
There you go.
right?
Hubcaps.
Unbelievable.
Hubcaps. Come on. Jerry
Right.
makes a hubcap.
Does he?
Jerry does the hubcap down there.
Okay.
Pretty good. I get them in the morning once in a while. I split them now. I can't eat the whole hubcap no more.
Yeah. When are you going to retire?
My brother Leonard's 71, and I told him all the time, he'll go home early now. So Leonard, get out of here. Go home. Go see the grandkids,
Right.
I don't know. I know that's not in my mind. My brother Jim's 65. He's no BGYN. He's still practicing. Sammy's an attorney. They're still practicing. It's in our blood. My dad would have never retired. My dad passed away. But when he passed away 3 months before we opened the new restaurant. My dad wasn't going to retire. He wasn't ready to retire.
No.
I have friends in the restaurant business. Frank Cascone. God, I hope he doesn't get mad at me. I think Frank's maybe on the way to be 80. He's still there every day.
As long as I have juice, I
Yeah.
want to show up and do something every day.
Come on. I want to see people.
Right.
I do like my
Step-
days. I do like the idea where I can,
Well, I don't want to stay home and do
Exactly,
honeydews and watch
exactly.
Netflix.
and that's how I think my wife and I get along so well.
Right.
But when we go to Florida, I relax. I kind of get in that mood. Boy, here we go.
You don't play golf.
No, I don't golf. So.
You don't play pickleball.
No, I played a little bit of pickleball, but I'm fine.
Okay. Do you read?
I love to read.
What do
I
you
love to read. I like mysteries, but I like romantic. Seriously, for movies, romantic comedies.
Right.
The whole family laughs at me. I'll give them my list of what I'm watching right now.
Right.
I did watch something last night that was really good. Night something with Robert De Niro. He plays two parts in it. The Art Club, something Nights.
Really? Okay.
And so I like my old, I like the old movies, things like that. I
Okay.
love to read old. I love the Ernest Hemingway, of course. So I still go back and pick up a book that I read 40 years ago. My dad's library is about as big as this room here. We used to call it the library.
Jay,
I have all those books.
Jay, we've done about 80 of these. You might be the single most engaging person
Thank you.
I've ever done this with.
Thank you.
Your personality just jumps out.
Thank you, sir. I
It
appreciate
is
it.
attractive,
I enjoy it.
charismatic.
You got to enjoy yourself. You got to relax. That's why I say I hate Yelp. I hate Google. Okay,
All right.
because it used to be, John Marler was the food editor at Kansas City Star. He'd come out every 2 or 3 years. Art Simmering, they'd write a review at the Jaspers. You'd wait. There's a good movie about this. I'll tell you that in a minute. And you'd sit there and you wait for that review. Now, and you get 4 stars. Wow, we did it. We had all the big awards, but local was big. Now people go home, they're in the car. Imagine going on a date, young kids, they're not even home yet, and they're on that computer writing a review about the restaurant. Give it a break, relax, enjoy your life.
Right.
It's food. Yeah, come on, we're not the greatest. We make a mistake also once in a while, but it's food. It can be replaced.
Not brain surgery.
Exactly,
Nobody's getting
exactly.
hurt
My
here.
brother's a surgeon. I always tell him that. I said, Jim, you're a surgeon. I said, you're very important. He said, Jay, I get the same issues you have every day. But you got someone's life in your hands. I got meatballs in my hands. I make cannolis for a living. Come on.
Right.
Enjoy your life.
Right.
What else is there? Especially as I get older. I got the grandkids. I can really enjoy it a little bit more.
Do you have any free time?
I do a little bit.
I'm going to ask you to talk to Brenda Ringwood when we're done here.
I'd love to.
And maybe we can get you involved with becoming a better you. I think your message is contagious and enthusiastic, and I think you can inspire a lot of people to get the most out of who they are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
JJ.
I am honored.
Oh,
We
thank
could
you,
talk
brother.
for hours, my
Oh,
friend.
Yeah.
Thank you. Many years and
but
many memories, my friend.
Maybe next time over a cannoli.
That's right. You did. I owe you cannolis. I told you. I owe you the cannolis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Grazie.
What's up, Big Bob?
If you're thinking about going to one of the events that Brenda puts on for BTBY, I highly suggest it.
What sets BTBY apart is how it blends business growth with personal development. And it's not just an event, it's an experience.
They bring in the right people. They bring in the right coaches. They bring in the right experts. And they really help you become a better version of yourself.
The stories shared by the speakers are raw, real, and relatable. Attendees see themselves reflected in those stories, and the energy in the room is filled with wisdom, passion, and real-life breakthroughs.
I went to the Becoming the Best You event this weekend, and it was absolutely amazing.
This conference absolutely has impacted and changed my life.
This is my winning season.
Even as a speaker, I was listening to the other speakers and learning different things I could do in my business.
I am very excited because I'm going to be with Brenda Ringwood in Kansas City for the event in September.
If you haven't been to a BTBY experience yet, I highly encourage you to attend the next one. If you're ready for change, this is the place to start.